Greetings fellow Whovians and welcome to Timey Wimey Review. Today I continue my horror season by reviewing perhaps one of the most scariest stories from modern Doctor Who and perhaps one of its most popular episodes, Blink. Originally broadcast on BBC One in June 2007, this episode was also based on a short story written by Stephen Moffat entitled How I Spent My Christmas Holidays by Sally Sparrow, which was part of the 2006 Doctor Who annual. Just in case you don't know the plot, we are introduced to Sally Sparrow, a quizzical young woman from modern-day London who is investigating some strange goings-on involving her friends and her friends' relatives. She's also receiving some messages from a person known as the Doctor from 1969. This episode really hangs on Sally Sparrow, with the Doctor and Martha practically not really being in this episode at all, probably about 5 minutes of screen time out of the 45-minute run time. And Carey Mulligan absolutely nails it as Sally Sparrow, and already you're just invested in her, and just the writing obviously helped with Stephen Moffat being at his best, but also Carey's performance as well. She is the driving force for this episode. Don't get me wrong, the other characters that we see as well were also good, but she really leaves a long-lasting impression after watching this episode, and it's such a shame that we never got to see Sally come back. I mean, she could always come back at some shape or form, never say never, but I really would have loved to have seen Sally Sparrow come back as a long-term companion to the Doctor. The other reason why Blink is such a memorable episode is, of course, now the infamous Weeping Angels, and it's such a great character design in terms of aliens or monsters or villains for the world of Doctor Who, because it's like the Autons. They are simple but effective, because you do see these creatures in everyday life through either churches, garden centres, different sort of grounds in the parks and woods. So you can easily let your imagination run wild with this one, and yeah, they are scary. There's no denying it. And again, and how they were utilized in this episode was so effective. And you can see why a lot of people really enjoy this episode and vote it as one of their best episodes of throughout Doctor Who, and certainly one of the most scariest villains especially in modern Doctor Who. I also like the fact that the Weeping Angels kill you with time, sending you to another time and place, and you live out those rest of your days in that era. So, I mean, Sally's friends managed to survive to a certain extent, and I think really, as a human being, you would probably live to survive, because that's kind of what human nature is. But if I was taken away right now from my time and place without my family, friends, loved ones, I think I would just go spare. I don't think I'll be able to cope. It's always fun to sort of imagine what it'd be like to live in a different era, but to have that taken away from you without any sort of consent, or without any choice, it's a very different matter altogether. And yeah, you're gonna have to let me know, would you survive in that scenario, or would you go absolutely mad? Let me know in the comments. Even though we don't see much of the Doctor in this episode, he still makes quite an impact in this episode, and it's quite a sort of dark way of looking at it, really, because it does get touched upon in some stories, but I'd say, especially in this episode, it sort of brings it out a bit more into focus. The way the Doctor uses people to sort of get kind of what he needs. So in this case, he's stuck in 1969. The Angels have got his TARDIS to a certain extent, and he needs to send these messages out to Sally Sparrow in 2007, 2008. And he has to use all these people, and especially Billy, who briefly meets Sally in this episode, and you know there was going to be some kind of love interest there, and you know, in another universe they could have been together and happily married, but alas, that was not meant to be. And then the Doctor having to just use Billy to send these messages to Sally. It's very cruel loss of life, really, for him. And again, with the Doctor just using these people, it's a bit grim. It's a bit dark to basically get what he wants, which is, I get it, but at the same time, it's a no-win scenario for the Doctor, to be fair. But it is a very dark sort of place to go with the Doctor's character. However, I do enjoy that David Tennant's performance of the Doctor keeps this quite light in tone in terms of what he needs to do, or asking for Billy for help in a sense. When he's saying, "I'm so sorry, but this message is going to take you a long time," and also with the DVD extras, the Easter eggs, communicating with Sally. We had the big ball of wibbly wobbly, timey wimey stuff. So thank you very much for that line, because Timey Wimey review, I've got to mention it. And yeah, I love his performance in this episode. Again, not being the main focus of the story, he still brings a shine to the Doctor, and it just shows how good of an actor David Tennant is. This is an absolutely stunning script by Stephen Moffat. You just can't fault it. Nothing really is left wasted. Everything sort of wraps up really nicely in this 45-minute story. And yeah, he's definitely the king of scares, especially towards the end of the episode with the Weepy Angels intercepting Sally and I think Larry, his her friend's brother. And yeah, considering these are not the characters that you are tuning in for, Stephen found a way to make these characters really interesting and funny and engaging to the audience. And it's something that's definitely didn't work with Love and Monsters, let's be honest. So whether they sort of learned lessons from that and sort of rewrote it for, or at least sort of had that in mind when writing for Blink, I'm not quite sure. But yeah, to have this great story and having some simple but effective use for modern day, so such as Weeping Angels that you see every day in throughout your life, and daily sort of routines, and also at the time DVD extras and Easter eggs. You know, back then, you know, to a certain point now, but definitely back then, Easter egg hunting on DVDs was such a huge thing, and everyone's just spent hours sort of like putting in codes and sort of pressing different arrows on your menus. I remember doing that and getting some different Easter eggs, and you can still get them now on different Doctor Who DVDs and I'm sure Blu-rays. Something I've done for a while, so let me know again in the comments if you still look for Easter eggs on Doctor Who DVDs or the season Blu-rays, and let me know what's been your most interesting Easter egg that you found. I'm going to give Blink a TARDIS rating of 8 out of 10. It's still got all the scares, all the thrills. It's a brilliant piece of 45-minute drama by Stephen Moffat. Certainly is Stephen Moffat at his best, and you can see why this is one of the most popular episodes of Doctor Who of all time throughout the modern and classic eras. And yeah, Weeping Angels, amazing villains. And I can probably say that they haven't been utilised as well as this, but it's probably hard to sort of, you know, they were set such a high bar for themselves. It's sort of quite difficult to see where you can go next with them. But hopefully that will happen in Doctor Who Flux when they return in the new series of Doctor Who that's coming out very, very soon in October of 2021. So looking forward to seeing them return. And yeah, great score as well by Murray Gold. Really good incidental music in this episode. I've forgotten how good it was, really, after rewatching this episode. It's certainly one of those that you definitely need to put on your Halloween sort of horror calendar, really. You know, if you haven't watched this for a while, it's on BBC iPlayer, of course, on DVD and Blu-ray. Do check it out. It's a great watch still to this day. Let me know in the comments below your thoughts on Blink. Is it your scariest Doctor Who episode of all time, or is there another story from Doctor Who that you find more terrifying? Let me know in them comments. Next time on Timey Wimey Review, I'm going to take a little pause from the horror season to review the season 12 finale, which was The Timeless Children. Until then, thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this review. Please like the video, share the video, and subscribe to the channel. And as a good doctor once said, don't blink. Blink and you're dead. They are fast. Faster than you can believe. Don't turn your back. Don't look away. And don't blink. Good luck.